Hello guys, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and on this channel there is some cash budgeting, there is some prepping, there's going to be a little bit of planning going forward because I have got myself into a bit of a financial mess through quite some years of my own poor money management and very poor financial decisions, and I am going to budget my way out of that. Now, you can see the outline of Mr. Bowie right here. He joined us for yesterday's video, and today is my December week one setting up of my budget, and it is also the first day of Budgetmas. Now, Budgetmas is a 30-day series of videos with a small break on Christmas Day, and it's going to be a video released every single day by myself if I can manage it, and it's going to be either Christmas related content or budgeting or planning, or this is kind of what I've spent for Christmas, this is what's going where in terms of next year and intentions like that. And I'm going to turn my phone off because that's very rude, guys. I'd completely forgotten that I'd left that on, so I do apologise. It's nothing fun and exciting, I can assure you about that. So we have that, and today we are working on my December sheets, which I had printed off, and Mr. Bowie is just there because that's where the heater is, and therefore that's where he has to sleep. Out of all the possible comfy surfaces in the house, this is the one he's chosen. Now, if you joined me yesterday, you will have seen my pre-planning video, and you'll have seen obviously these numbers here, and that I had to go away and do a little bit of work on them further. But because the video had run quite long, I didn't want to keep you guys any longer, but I have obviously gone away and done that work for you. So we'll be doing that today. So these are all sheets that I've designed myself for my own personal usage. We come to December, so we are going to set up December. Now, I do write on the slant, and the cat is also making some space initiatives quite interesting. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to start my month, and it's going to be a shorter month for me, December. I've decided it's going to run from the 5th to the 23rd, which is actually 3 calendar weeks. And that is due to the fact that I will be transitioning over to a budget by paycheck method rather than a standard calendar monthly method. I think it's the best way going forward for me to really try and manage my money in a more successful way, and also to deal with cash flow far more successfully than I have been. I have really struggled with when money has been coming in, how I'm going to work that, what's going out where, and it's just really quite stark. But you'll have seen me do this in November, and you guys really enjoyed that. Some of you said you'd found it useful, and the fact that I'm so traditionally poor with money, and kind of am, the fact that what I'm doing is useful to anyone, I find shocking. But you have found it useful. You have said that you have. So it was also useful to me as well. Let's be fair here. So we are going to do that, and again, we get there. So at the minute, we are going to completely ignore Xmas because that is going to be in part of January's budget. So this is the date span words we are working with today. Please do bear with me, guys. I have had some sleep, but I have been a bit of a busy bee. This week is the week before I start my new job, and which is actually here. This Monday coming up is my first day, and when you have that break in between and you're kind of exhausted from finishing one job, and there's the layover of that, but then also you want to get things in place. So things like housework, batch cooking, getting caught up on all of the laundry and things. I'm also doing that this week, and I want to film ahead for Budgetmas. Now, I think Budget with Ira said on his most recent live, and if you've not watched any of his lives, or you happen to have not heard of him, and if you haven't, you're living under a rock. He is someone who's also spent his fair amount of time in Christmas retail, and you kind of go into trenches mode almost, and you knuckle down and just work your socks off because it is what is the norm, and that has also been my norm for quite some time. So whilst I'm going to be keeping busy, that is going to set me in good practice for next year. So we have my Christmas meal on Wednesday the 7th. That is the first event that is coming up. That is thankfully fully funded, but I do have to pay for parking. And we all know my thoughts if you've seen that video about that yesterday. On the 9th, we have a payment coming in, which is £395.18, and that is the grant payment there. On the 15th, I then have a wage, which is £1,000, which I'm expecting in as well. And I'm also expecting weekly freelance work. Now, when I pulled yesterday's numbers, that was on the basis of a 4-weekly month. So the amount I would need to spend a week on petrol and food, and overall what that cost would be, was all worked out on there. So although I did initially think I'd be coming into this month with a shortfall, the shortfall is not really there now. I am only going to be doing, when do I have another job? I have another Christmas meal here, and that is for job 2. So I'm very lucky I have 2 Christmas meals, which is nice, and both are fully funded, so I don't need to worry about that. And my standard budgeted amount each week is £50 for freelancing, and that is going to stay pretty much the same. The actual date of payment can vary because it depends on when I get the invoice over and when there is the time for them to collect. And obviously I am going to be working, so I'm on a 9:30 till 4 here, here, here and here, and then obviously I have standard work every other day, except here, when I just get paid to eat food, basically. I mean, I shouldn't really moan about that, like, but it does mean that the Saturday days off are kind of feeling a little bit sacred, actually. And I'm really going to kind of start to try and value them a little bit more. I've not been very good at valuing the time off that I have had. If anyone has had that problem, it's horrible, isn't it? But part of Budgetmas, or a video that's going to be part of Budgetmas, is what I want to achieve next year and how that relates to my money and working my socks off, basically. Can we just have a quick second to look at this cuteness? This is to all of you who commented or reached out and said there needed to be more cat content. Here, little sweetie. Yes, I love you too. Yeah, so next year there's going to be a real focus on work. But my monthly goals, these have gone up on Instagram. This is going to be interesting. There's going to be a little bit of awkward camera movement here, guys, so bear with, because the cat is taking up all the space in the world. So I've got to do final wrapping. I have got to batch cook. So my to-do list is just standard weekly things that I maybe need to take into account and be aware of on my time. And then my overall monthly goals are things like, do not buy any more Happy Mail. And you will see why in another video. No spoilers. Do not buy Happy Mail. Yeah, the printer did really not like printing these off at all. Seriously, vinted my stuff. Or just destash. Because I've got piles of things everywhere that are not serving me anymore. I want to make a real push to get things like that sorted and done. And it's not happening because there's just stuff getting in the way. Yeah, even my nice little print, yeah, it just didn't work at all, did it? And then Budgetmas. So it looks like we are going to have to try and work around the cat today, guys. But, you know, these things are sent to try us. So that is the week. Now, there is my poor printer. It was just not equipped. There are some Christmas specific spreads here, which we're going to ignore for now, because I'm going to do a separate video about kind of who had what spent on them and how it was all obviously panning out. But we will get back to that another date. I say I don't want this to run to a very long video. It probably will do. Why are we surprised by this? And so the period when my budget is starting is the 5th to the 12th. The only income I'm expecting this week is freelancing of 50, and the grant money that I talked about yesterday, which is £395.18. And I actually have a calculator and a calendar to hand today, so I'm far more prepared and organised than I have been. Let me just quickly get that added up for you so we can make sure all of my numbers are accurate. So that's a projected income of £445.18. I'm not putting anything down in terms of Vinted, whilst I have been selling things. Anyone who does sell on platforms like that know that it's not often a case of when you think the money's going to go in, it's when it actually goes in, and that is almost at the whims of the seller confirming that they've had the item. Now, the bills that I've got coming out this week are, excuse me, thank you. We have pet insurance, which is £8. We have my water bill, which is £22. We have BT internet, which is £38. We have my mobile, which is £28. We have YouTube, which is £11.99. We have Spotify, which is £9.99. And one that I forgot to put down last night, but based on my current usage of it, I will be continuing with this for this month, which is Canva, which is £10.99. And I think I've said in a previous video that that is going to be on a rolling basis, kind of as and when I use it. So if my sums are correct, these are my bills for this month. This is based on previous records. And I know that's not always the most reliable when it comes to me, but I have to work with the information that I have. And I'll just quickly add that up, because we also know that I can't add up and talk as well because I make mistakes. And we have £10.99 as well. So we have £128.97 is the total expected bills expenditure, should I say, for this week. Let me go back to my calculator. So then I do £445.18, and I take £128.97 away from that, leaving me, and I'm gonna just get rid of the pennies for now, because if you know me, it just gets a bit too much for my brain. Leaving me £316 to play with. Now, my food is going to be £40. My fuel is going to be £55. The cat is going to be £15. One thing I did forget was household, and we're going to set that as £10 because of what I need to get. So I might have to just go slightly heavier on household this week. We have parking. You'll all know my thoughts about that. Is £25. Someone's tail is twitching because he is not happy about the paper resting on him, but guess what? It's mummy's desk and it's mummy's heating, and that's how it's going to be. So we have parking is £25. We have spending. Yes, we all know what that face means, doesn't it, cat owners? That means if you tickle my tummy, you're going to get a scratch. I beat you. I win. So we have spendy, which is £25, which is very much something that I am trialling. Whilst I intend to be as disciplined as I can, I am also anticipating that I may slightly go over for the first couple of weeks while I try this and get settled in it. But, you know, I may be surprised at even myself. Let's see where we are up to with that. So what are we up to at the minute? We've got 40 and 55 and 15 and 10 and 25 and 25 and 10. So that's a flexible / spending amount of 180. So let's take that off there, leaving me 136. Now, Kat, what are you doing? Oh, I didn't write my goals in for the week. We'll get back to that in a second. Okay, now we know that I've got to do some Christmas spending. What I'm going to do is, what have I got left to buy and who for? Now, the reason why this is in savings, if you've not seen me do this before, that is because normally I would have a savings sinking fund for things like Christmas, and that would then either be put in there and then I would obviously draw from that. That's not happening, but for the sake of my own brain, I'm just going to put it in here for now. So we have 136, and I want to take £75 of my expected Christmas spend, and that should tidy up most things. Let me just see where that brings me to. So that brings me to 61. So what I'm going to do is put £25 in a gifts envelope, and that will get me started for next year, because if you've heard me do a rant, you will know that I have 2 very major birthdays, i.e. my parents, coming up very, very early in February. So I don't have very long post-Christmas to get the start of that envelope at the very least funded for those 2 individuals. So I'm going to put £25 aside to save for gifts, and the remaining £36 we are going to do, let's have a think. Let's do £6 in self-care, and you will see in a separate video, because I'm going to be going through and doing, as part of Budgetmas, oh hello, why have we flipped? There we go. You're going to be, as part of Budgetmas, I'll also be doing a breakdown of what my sinking funds and spending priorities are for next year. So I'm going to put the remaining £6 into self-care, and then the remaining £30 into savings, which is my mini emergency fund. So that takes us down to, come on, no. Hang on guys, we're having a bit of a technical disaster here. I'm just going to have to hold the arm for a second, so my arm is going to get in the way. Okay, so that takes us to 0, because I'm doing a 0-based cash budgeting system is what I'm trying to go with. There will probably be some spare change that will go into either penny challenges or 50 pence challenges and things like that, based out of my loose change. There may or may not be a cash stuffing video, because the bulk of my money is not coming in until the 9th and the end of the week. To be fair, at the beginning of the week, the only thing that I need to find money for is the parking, and that is on that Wednesday, as we've seen according to my monthly planner. And in terms of my goals this week, it is just to learn all I can at work. Now, because it is the first week of my new job, I don't want to allow myself to get distracted by things going on in the house, by things like Vinted or anything like that. If I have time in the evenings, then, and I have freelancing work there, I will do the freelancing work. But that is all very much dependent on how much I get done this week and how successful I am in getting ahead. At the minute, I am on track. I'm having to be very strict with myself, but I'm really, really, really excited about the new job and everything that comes with it. That is also going to be a Budgetmas video for you all. So I'm going to leave that there. We've only got one goal and everything is looking fairly straightforward. There's a lot of camera shake right now. That is because the arm which holds the phone is literally about to fall on the cat, and that's going to be a small explosion of cat anger. And there's another train as well, so if I ever needed any more signs that it was time to stop filming for right now, it's right here. Now I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.